here with Ryan, the good friend of mine and an amazing insurance agent. So just want to introduce you. Tell me a little bit about what we're in here today.
Yeah, so we're in McLaren 600 LT.
Yep.
It's actually my third McLaren 600 LT I've had since I seem to go back to it every single time.
Exactly.
But yeah, probably my favorite car, McLaren's usually the brand I go fall back to always.
And I think that's super interesting because you've had STO.
Yep.
You've had this. Why? What pulls you back to this?
I think just more or less it's more of a track type of car.
Yeah.
So it's more aggressive, it's raw, which is kind of why I enjoy it. The raw part, you don't have to worry about, like the 720 I had, it was super fast.
Yeah.
But it was boring.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it dropped in price. And then I started off with a 12C, was my first ever McLaren I had.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of it. So every iteration from the coupe to the roof scoop one and now to the Spider version.
I mean, talking about the raw, I mean, we're in the center seats. It makes it feel like a true race car.
Yep.
And I actually rode in Brent's a while back, and that's when I truly fell in love with the 600 LT, because it's everything about it. I mean, the sounds.
Yeah, this
awesome.
one, yeah. I like this one because I can just roll down the back window and
Yep.
you hear and feel everything. Or you could just drive real chill like we are.
Yep.
And it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad, minus, getting used to the seats.
Yeah, and really, at the end of the day, you're in a race car.
Yep.
You aren't in a S class, so
Exactly.
you gotta have that raw feeling.
You gotta have some type of supercar feel to it.
Exactly. No, I love it. So kind of wrapping into that, you've had a lot of cars. You come back to the 600. What other cars have you had? STO, 600, 720.
Yeah, 12C, and then back when I was a federal agent back in the day, I mean, I had everything. I had like 3 Camaros,
Okay.
I had Chargers, I had Genesis Coupe.
Oh, there you go.
I had my one before that was I had a C7 that I had fully built before I went into the supercar game.
Yeah.
And that was like a dream of mine. My dad has a 73 Stingray, first owner, still has the car. So when I was an agent, I had always dreamed like this is going to be my top of the line car that I'm going to get, because I never, in a sense thought I would get to this level.
Yeah.
And fortunately enough I did.
So your dad had the 73 Stingray.
Yep.
Is that what got you into cars originally?
Yep. Back being from Michigan, all we knew was old cars.
Yeah.
So like all classics, all that stuff. I used to do all the Dreamwood cruises with him and really enjoy it. So it's, coming out here and then seeing a whole different ball game of stuff. Used to go to, PAVs way back in the day.
Yeah.
When you'd see all of these supercars, and it was like we would all go, me and my buddies would go, and we'd have all different brands. I would always go to McLaren. You'd have the Porsche guys, and then you'd have my buddy Richard who goes to the Ferrari section. So we all split off, and we were like, one day,
we'll have this.
Yeah, one day we'll have it, and now we all do.
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing to go up and kind of get everything done with people that you kind of built everything up with.
Yeah, and so you talked a little bit about it there. You're originally in Michigan, coming out here as a federal agent. Is that what brought you out here to Arizona?
Yep, that's the only thing. Went away, family's back in Michigan. I'm the only one out here, and took that chance and did that for almost 10 years until I went self-employed. And
so being a federal agent, you're obviously working with somebody or working for somebody, and it seems like a pretty stringent job.
Yep.
Did that teach you a lot going into that field?
It did, for the fact that I don't want to make the same as everybody else when I work harder than everybody else.
Exactly.
So that's what kind of got me into going the self-employed direction. Like, as an agent, like, you made great money, you could have a great living, but you worked 5/10s, you drove an hour and a half each way, so technically 5/13s, and tried to go all over the place. Tried to do a bunch of different stuff to like hang in there, ATVs, horse patrol, surveillance, PT instructor.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, I'm making the same as somebody that just goes down to the border and just sits there all day and doesn't do anything. So now if I don't make money, it's because of me.
Exactly.
So like, that's on me. I can't blame anybody else. I can't, And so it makes me grind harder every day for what I want.
Yeah, and then what was that transition like coming out of the more comfortable job where you're not necessarily saying it's comfortable, but knowing that you're going to have a paycheck every day for 10 years and then being self-employed?
Yeah, it was one of those oh crap situations.
Yeah.
It was risky, Because when you're strictly based off of commission at the start before residual and all that stuff, 0 referrals, 0 sales. My bachelor's is in criminal justice, so having 0 of that experience, it was it was iffy.
Yeah.
But I never failed at anything.
Exactly.
So that was it's like I'm risking it based off of myself.
Yeah.
So, and again, I couldn't blame anybody. If I failed, it was on me.
And that's the worst failure.
Yep.
The worst failure is when it's nobody else's fault but yours.
Yep.
So what got you into being self-employed, and talk a little bit about what it is that you do.
So I'm a health advisor in 30 plus states, so access to all plans. So basically I show plans, basically give advice and help people get on it along with customer service the whole time I'm on it. So what got me into it was honestly just seeing what was out there.
Yeah.
Like seeing people do an insurance, all kinds of different insurances, and I wanted to do something that was going to always be around.
Exactly.
Like everyone's always going to need some type of health insurance. Like they need it to survive, especially nowadays. Medical's crazy.
Yep.
And if I can, I've always been honest, telling everybody the truth, whether it's good or bad.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. So like for me, I think that's what helped is I had to hit them with the honesty, and it's just you show them everything and you give them the ability to pick.
Yeah.
That's the best part. So
and we had talked about it before, because I got my health insurance through Ryan. I had it through somebody else. You and I were conversating, and I was looking for a better option. You really ran me through everything. I had a cheaper plan before. Well, actually, no, it was more expensive.
No, it was actually
yeah,
more
it was
expensive.
more expensive, but this covered more.
Yep.
And that's what's super cool, and the honesty through the whole process. It's really something that you admire when you're self-employed, because it's so easy to go into something and make a quick sale.
Yep.
But it doesn't build the future, and I think you've done a really good job at that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, it's like what you're doing. You could go in and tell somebody and try and sell them the world with lies, but
Exactly.
in the end, when you're a referral-based business, like you want the best for what they're getting.
Yeah.
Like it's a low price sounds great, a high price sounds great for you, but it's like if they can't use it, they don't keep it.
Yep.
You're not getting anything out of it. Like you're building friends, you're building relationships, you're building networks, referrals.
Yeah.
In the end, that's what you want. You
Exactly.
want somebody that's like, hey, go to him, because he's going to tell you what's out there. If he can't help you, he's going to push you in the direction that you should go. Because
Yeah.
he doesn't need he doesn't need to make the sale for you or show you what it is, because he's going to tell you stay with what you have, or do this if this is what works for you.
And I think it was Alex Hermosi. I forget exactly who made the quote, but it was sometimes the best way of helping somebody is telling them that what you provide isn't the right thing.
Yep.
And that's actually something that really stood out to me when we were doing my health insurance. You said stay with the dental plan you have. I can't beat it.
Yep.
So honesty is really the core value of your business. Is that what you think helped you grow, or what is that key thing that you'd look at and say, this helped me grow?
Consistency wise is just a routine.
Exactly.
Like if you can keep a routine, you're always going to do well, especially if it's very, you're very OCD like I am. I just like to have an 8 to 5, 8 to 6 schedule, go to the gym in the morning, because then if you have that schedule, you can't fail. Everybody that I feel like does very well has a routine, because if you don't break it and it's always worked for you, why are you going to change it? You can add more things in there that might benefit.
That's what I tell everybody, like getting into the real estate industry or any self-employed business. Alina just started her business.
Yep.
And the biggest thing is find 3 things that work.
Yep.
So for the first few months, play around,
Yep.
get it figured out. But when you find those 3 things, stick to those 3 things.
Yep.
And this is something I know you do too. Health is wealth. Taking care of your body, waking up, going to the gym, get the blood flowing, and then you're rolling it right into the day. Do you think that's been a big part of your success?
I was going to say it's huge, because that's like my mental time away from everything.
Yep.
You get in there, you're doing your own thing. Like, even if you're tired, once you're done, even if it's not the best workout, like you feel a ton better after.
100%.
Because now your day, for me, like that starts my day.
Yep.
Now it's like, okay, well now I can grind on the phone. I can, shoot text messages to people, see like what they need, do customer service, like do all of that stuff. Because in the end, I don't have to worry about after work. I have to get all this stuff done.
Yeah.
Because the gym was done in the morning. It started everything, and then, it wakes you up. So
100%. And I think that's something that we're missing more and more today, where the mind-body connection, going out when you're working out, doing your thing, that's a great time to think as well. I think I come up with my best ideas while I'm doing other things. When I sit down and I focus on work, you know, that's my time to hone in on the ideas I came up with outside of work. So there's a lot of people out there that don't know whether they want to go self-employed. They don't know if they want to go something more structured. What would your, I guess, what was your thought process when picking what you were doing? And what would you recommend to a younger guy trying to figure it out?
Yeah, so always self-employed or like a contractor. Yeah. Because obviously contracting jobs, you're building your own business, but at the same time, they give you a platform.
Exactly.
So it's kind of nice, like almost like realtor-wise, if you're going to a good team, it's still your own business.
Yep.
But like they're giving you the structure to start, but like it's still on you to succeed or fail.
Exactly.
And then self-employed wise, you have to have a passion.
Yeah.
In general, because in the beginning, it doesn't matter unless you come from wealth, which I don't. Like you start from the bottom, and nowadays everybody is trying to do every profession. They see real estate people do good, so they're like, oh, I'm going to be a realtor. Now you have a million realtors, and you're fighting against people that are just trying to make a sale versus like yourself. You have a name, you built your business. Like you're not doing it based on that. Same for mine. So it's, you know, they see people do well in health insurance or life insurance or, you know, whatever they end up going for. They don't realize like how hard it was to get it started.
Exactly.
You always see the end. You see the end game and you see the must be nice, but you don't see the grind and what people went through to start. So it's
we
like,
had talked about that before too, before we had started the filming. Everybody looks at the end product and they compare themselves to, you know, a tenured person or somebody who's been in the industry getting better at it. And then when they don't see that immediate success, they move to the next one.
Something else.
They go from life insurance to real estate to health insurance to car sales. They don't see success in anything because it kind of boils down to that consistency.
It is. Or they see the immediate success, like one sale. And then it goes stagnant. And then instead of like keeping that grind, they're like, well, I'm done. Like I seen a ton of that when I first came in. Like there were some people that went from like solar to like there, and they had a good first couple months, and then it like went stagnant, and they just up and left. Like they left a lot of business for the company, but like they lost all that. I'm like, what did you get out of it? Like, what did you do just to go back to something else? Like that's not like you have to go all in. Like you're gonna have bad months.
Exactly.
It's gonna be slow. It doesn't matter how good you do in sales or how much money you make. There's always gonna be months where you're like, man, what's happening?
So with that, you've got the bad months, you've got the good months. What is it that keeps you driving? Because obviously you've become successful. You've got nice cars, you've got a beautiful house. What keeps you going every day?
I'm competitive. So like I see what other people are doing, and I'm like, man, I want that. Or you see another car or something along those lines where you're like, I have to keep working. Because there's points where you're like, okay, I could just ride out residual income. But it's like I'm so routine and so competitive. I always want to do better every single time. So like if I don't have as good of a month, now I'm like mad at myself because I'm like, oh my God, like was I lazy? Like I wasn't. My routine didn't go, but it just didn't go that way. So that's kind of how it is. And my dad's grinded. He was a cop for 37 years.
Oh, was he really?
So like he got forced out back in Michigan, and like that's all I've been. Even when I was in the patrol, like as an agent. You know, I don't think I ever used like a sick day. Like I always carried over max sick days, max annual leave, which is like, because if I go to work, like when I did that, I could just kind of chill for a few hours, and then if something happened, like my mindset was never to be, I could just sit there. Like I would just go out and it would distract me.
Exactly.
So it's like I never needed to use those days. And I, like, to me still to this day, I'm like, even when I was sick, like my once a year sickness, when I'm down with my business, I can't not text somebody back or help somebody with customer service. Like I can't do that. You always find a way to make it work, and that's kind of the drive.
Do you think that's something that could be taught, or do you think if there's something in the entrepreneurial mindset, the mind of somebody who runs a business that is just, I hate to say it, we all have something a little off. Like we got that itch. We're never good enough, and we're always pushing. Do you think that can be taught?
Honestly, I think it's how you're raised.
Yeah.
To be honest, because it has to start from when you're younger, like playing collegiate soccer for mine, and just how I was raised to, even if we were in a middle class family, I was working since I was 12.
Yeah.
Whether it was dishwashing, you know what I mean? You were always taught like the value of money. So it never, when things aren't given to you, you understand like I always have to work.
100%.
And then when you start seeing success, you're like, okay, this could be taken faster than I got it done.
Yeah.
So that to me, it's I don't know if it can be taught, because you have to have that hard work in your mind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna grind whether it's good or it's bad. And some people, they like the easy way out. The new generation, unfortunately, is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
looking
used
for that
to this
quick buck.
Yeah, they're looking for that stuff, or they think like I'm gonna make all this money to start, when it's like that's not reality. So,
and I like what you said there about money can go out quicker than it comes in, and finding that balance. And I think that's a big thing for me. It's figuring out that balance to how do I treat myself while simultaneously, putting money back in the business. There's a lot of things you weigh out.
Well, and you can market yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you can go and enjoy, whether it's clothes or it's shoes or it's cars. You can use that for your business,
100%.
which is also kind of something cool. You just figure out like, hey, how much do I need to save? But like, to where you're like, I grind every day. I have to enjoy it, because
100%.
otherwise, it's all gone. And again, that goes back to my dad. My dad grinded for 37 years, and then now he's health-wise isn't doing the best. But it was like, I seen that, and that's what pushed me more to like, you got to enjoy your day.
Yeah.
And those are the experiences you see and you learn.
It was a difficult thing when I bought the Porsche. I was trying to justify it because I've always wanted one.
Yep.
And, at the end of the day, I know that the conversations it's going to initiate, it's going to pay off.
Yep.
And so there's that balance of treat yourself, but don't overspend.
Exactly.
I knew what my budget was. I stuck to it. That's what I'd been looking for a year, and it turned out to be a good buy so far.
Yep.
So I guess that kind of rolls into another question. Young guys getting out, they want to get the nice cars, they want to do the cool things, they want to have those relationships. What's one main piece of advice you would give them to achieve that?
I mean, just whatever you do, I feel like you have to enjoy the business or whatever you end up getting into. Because if you enjoy it, you're never really working.
Exactly.
And that, in the end, is like, if you have a bad month, you have a good month, you have a bad day, you're always like, I can still do this.
It's life. It's not work. It's life.
Exactly. That's it. And it supports everything else you do.
Yeah.
So for me, when I go out and see the car in the garage, and like I can go and buy things that not worry about spending, like that's something that's always been I appreciate. Like
exactly.
I've been fortunate to like do well in all my hard work. So it's like that's what I like to do. When you can go out and you see things that you worked hard for, and other people you meet, and they're like, oh man, like what do you do? Like how can I do this? Can I get to there? Like that's a cool thing to have. And it's when I'd seen cars when I was younger, that was what you enjoyed. You're like, I'm gonna get there one day. And when you met the people that actually took time to talk to you, took time to like help you figure out what you wanted to do and let you know like what they did, that's what I enjoy. Like that's what I try and give back to everybody that I talk to, and respond to everybody that I can.
Exactly.
Because it's like, it might be frustrating when you're busy, but like you don't know how much that changes people.
Well, that's a great note to end on. I really appreciate it. This is one of my favorite interviews.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming out, taking the drive out here to Verado on the other side of the world.
Exactly.
And, you see, like for yourself, kind of brought you back to some spots too when you were, you had sold some houses out here.
Yep.
So kind of like a cool little full circle when you come over to this side. So.
I love it. And it's, I-10 isn't too bad on a Sunday morning.
On a
if
Sunday.
If it were a Friday, I would say no way.
On a Friday, you would have had to reschedule. So,
Exactly.
I agree, man.
Awesome.